Hi, it's Nicole here from Dear Diary Country Life, and today I'm going to be talking about making a healthier version of homemade hummingbird nectar. Hummingbirds are some of my favorite birds. There are a lot of them in the backyard here where we are, and when we first moved here, I went to the hardware store. I bought a hummingbird feeder and some of that bright red hummingbird feeder concentrate that you just dilute with water. And it worked great. The hummingbirds were super excited. We don't have that many flowering plants here, so it was just something extra for them to attract them. And they give us so much joy. They're just so fun to watch. They're like little fighter pilots. And as a matter of fact, they are the smallest mature bird that we know of. The males have some of the most varied colors in their plumage. They're so beautiful if you watch them. Most of the ones around here are red and kind of blue-green. They're also incredibly fast. They can be flying around at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. And then when the males are in hot pursuit of the females, when they're mating, they can actually pursue the females at 50 miles an hour. So I can't imagine what that must feel like for the lady hummingbird, but that's a pretty serious business for those males who are going after them. They're called hummingbirds because their wings make that really kind of beautiful and meditative humming sound, and the largest hummingbirds can flap their wings at about 80 beats per second, which is pretty incredible. You've probably heard, if you know about hummingbird feeders and have tried to make your own nectar, it's pretty easy. It's 4 parts water to 1 part sugar, and it's recommended that you use white granulated sugar. If you use raw sugar, it can contain iron, which is not healthy for the hummingbirds. And sometimes you might think that it might be better to be using a sweetener that's naturally derived, such as honey or agave, but those can actually produce bacteria over time, which can also be problematic for the birds. So I kind of started thinking about the dyes in the store-bought hummingbird nectar and looked at the package and realized that it's that red food color number. I don't even know what it is, but it's some sort of chemical that I know is not even safe for humans. So I figured, how would that be safe for birds as well? And I decided to go searching for some natural food dyes, food coloring, and I actually found it at a store. You can probably find this at the grocery store or online, and the dyes are actually made with vegetables, so it's all natural, super safe. I will say that they fade in the sun a little bit quicker, so I try to make it more concentrated than I normally would if I was using just regular food coloring. But otherwise, the hummingbirds seem to love them, and makes me happy knowing that I'm doing something for them that they enjoy and is also healthy. So now I'm going to walk you through the process. It's super easy. I'll show you the dye that I have and how I do it here. All right, so here we have everything that I just mentioned you will need in order to make this healthier version of homemade hummingbird nectar. We have pure cane granulated sugar, just plain white sugar, water. It's 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. So here I have 4 cups of water that I have previously boiled, and that helps to dissolve the sugar faster. I have the natural food coloring that I told you about. It is by a brand called Watkins, and it is pretty cool because the color is just derived from plant sources, and then we have a spatula to mix everything up. So here we go. So we're simply going to pour the sugar into the water. Give it a good stirring. Make sure that it gets completely dissolved. And again, it's a good idea to boil the water first so that it dissolves much faster. That looks pretty good there. And from there, we're going to add some of the food coloring. And as I mentioned, because it's natural, I noticed that it did fade quicker than usual. So I like to put more than I normally would. And even though this is the red dye, it turns out this really pretty magenta color, which I personally love. That is looking pretty good. This is one of the 4 hummingbird feeders that we have, and another important thing to note is that you should clean these out very thoroughly. I would say once every maybe 1.5 weeks, just to make sure that there's no bacteria growing, and just to give the hummingbirds some fresh nectar. They'll always appreciate that. So definitely a good idea. Clean them out really well, dry them, and then, replace as needed. And I usually don't fill it up all the way because, as I just mentioned, the birds don't usually go through it as quickly as I need to refill them. So it's not super necessary to fill them all the way to the top unless you have tons and tons of hummingbirds. So there we go, that's it. The hummingbirds will kind of visit the little magenta flowery looking things at the bottom there, and we see them multiple times a day. They always come in the morning for breakfast and then usually come again in the afternoon. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is just one of my favorite ways to make friends with the sweet little creatures that we have in our backyard. And I'm always looking for new ways to do that just enhance everyone's life. So hope you enjoyed the video. There will be more to come. Thanks for watching. You can also visit the blog, which has a more detailed description of all of this as well. The link for that is in the notes.